time to reinvent yourself and take stock of the mental patterns that you have right now that are no longer serving the future version of yourself. If our thoughts can change outcomes, the way we see the world, the way we do things, then being mindful of that programming that we currently have is going to be, I think, transformative for you. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Cece, and this is my fitness channel where I share my attempts to live and lead a healthy lifestyle focused and centered around wellness and just doing and being my best. Every day is a gift, and I'm so grateful you decided to spend part of that gift here with me today. In today's video, we're talking about exiting our slump, lazy girl era in favor of becoming a better version of ourselves. So I wanted to offer 6 tips to help you achieve goals and to expedite the process of you meeting that future version of yourself. Okay, so my first tip is, in order to meet this new version of yourself, you have to release and let go of your old self and your old habits that no longer serve you. When you really think about it, clinging to either old versions of yourself or things that no longer serve you, it tends to stem from a place of scarcity. And in this new era that we're all moving into, you really want to focus on abundance and also just creating space for those new things to exist and come in. I think this really starts first with recognizing which habits are no longer serving you and which habits that you want to change. Understanding the triggers, cues, and all of that is associated with this habit or thing that you want to change. Because honestly, having awareness of it is the first step towards making that change happen. And then the next step with it is you want to modify your environment to minimize the triggers or minimize all the cues that are having you do this specific habit. One of my habits is getting distracted by my phone at work, and that's because my phone is right here on my desk. So a great way to modify my environment to reduce the amount of times I'm having that trigger would be to move my phone from my desk. That's just a really small example of a way that you can modify your environment to avoid the trigger surrounding a bad habit. Modifying your environment also includes removing any temptations and create barriers that make it harder for you to engage in the habit that you're trying to change. And lastly, with this step and letting go of your old self and your old habits, is you want to practice self-compassion. You have to be kind to yourself, especially when you're in the process of breaking a habit. A lot of habits that we have are ingrained and we've done for a while. So you just want to also just be really kind to yourself and understand that setbacks are normal and a part of the process as well. So don't be too hard on yourself, focus on the progress and celebrate every small win. My second tip to meet that future version of yourself faster is to be mindful. And so we hear this thing, and for me, it's like such an umbrella term. There are different ways to be mindful. I'm talking in the sense of your thoughts, right? So I think there's like a statistic out, I could be wrong. They said that 80% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had the day before, right? So if our thoughts can manifest and become these things, and we were having the same thoughts that we had yesterday and the day before, just try to really see the full picture of the compounding effect of having these repeated thoughts, whether they're negative self-talk or you're comparing yourself to others, or I'm talking about being mindful of those mental patterns that are ingrained in you, that you have every single day. Be mindful and bring awareness to those things, because if our thoughts can change outcomes, the way we see the world, the way we do things, then being mindful of that programming that we currently have is going to be, I think, transformative for you. And it's been transformative for me. So, you know, this is something I think is really difficult on the scale of this list of things, just because it is so habitual, it is so ingrained in you. And I think, not to say you can't change, but it definitely takes a lot of mental energy. And it first starts by you catching, oh, I'm having this thought again. Oh, I'm having this thought again, right? And then you slowly start having the thought less and less. And then as you're having that thought, right, the next step would be to change your rhetoric, right? So if you feel a certain way about yourself, like, oh, I'll never achieve this, start catching the thought. And then the second step, start changing that thought, right? Flipping it around instead of having that negative perspective surrounding a certain thought or just the way you feel about yourself, right? Your old thoughts got you to the old version of yourself. And I think that's fine. We can appreciate who you were and every step you've taken to get where you are today. However, it's time to reinvent yourself and take stock of the mental patterns that you have right now that are no longer serving the future version of yourself. So if you're having some negative thoughts or thoughts that you feel like, this is something that needs to be worked on, think about the future version of yourself and what thoughts that person would have in place of those thoughts. So I hope that makes sense. For example, a thought that I've had in the past is YouTube will never be something that can pay my bills, right? But now, thank you guys so much, I am monetized, and now the future version of myself is seeing like this is possible. I'm changing my thoughts around that. That's not a thought that I have any longer, and now I have actually the proof to secure that thought, right? But that really started with me believing differently about YouTube and what it can offer me. It's a recent win for me, but that is solidifying even more proof, which started in the ingrained thoughts that I've changed about my perspective of YouTube and what it can offer me monetarily. So third tip is learning to say no to yourself and to others. I don't know what's been happening, but we've been moving more and more into the comfort zone, and while I don't disagree with it, we can't soft life so much that we forget why it's important to say no to certain things and why it's important sometimes to say no to ourselves. Like, I've forgotten the importance and power of delayed gratification. If you have very specific fitness goals, then you might have to say no to drinking with your friends this weekend, right? You might have to say no to eating out that extra time during the week, and that's not a crime. Like, that's not a bad thing, right? But you have to be real with yourself about your commitment to these goals and the commitment to yourself, right? The commitment to your future version of yourself, right? The version of yourself that you're striving to be. Be aware of that commitment. Stick to that commitment, right? So sometimes that is telling yourself no. Sometimes that's me telling myself, no, we're not gonna go finish off that bag of popcorners. We're gonna have a handful of grapes instead. And you know, outside of having, like, I don't really have like physical fitness goals. Like, I have nutritional goals that are always in the back of my mind of checkpoints I'm trying to hit, just to make sure that I'm hitting all of these minerals and vitamins, and that comes from whole real foods. So I'm telling myself, no, we're not having popcorners this time. As I'm looking at the popcorners on my desk, we're gonna have fruit. Or, you know, just some of the stuff I see online, it's like, that's like, oh my God, you're depriving yourself. Like, I just can't subscribe to that. I think that discipline, delayed gratification, I think there's just so much power in those things. And I think that discipline really ensures we are prioritizing self-care, honoring our bodies and our minds. It even fosters resilience by helping us to overcome setbacks and form healthy habits. Discipline really truly is going to be a cornerstone in your fitness, wellness, health, longevity journey. Like, don't forget about that, and always operate from the mind frame of doing things your future self would thank you for, right? Obviously enjoy the moment, but always think about that commitment you have to your future self. My fourth tip is to get offline and get into reality. So there's so much information overload online. It overwhelms me. Even as a content creator, I find it so overwhelming. This guru said this one said this one said this. So while I love listening to podcasts, I've had to reduce my consumption, because if I listen to too many podcasts in the week, I'm trying to implement 10 new habits by the end of the week, because all these wellness experts have said this is the thing to do, and this is the longevity, and this is what you do. And I just want to say here, if my videos overwhelm you, if you find like my content is too much, do us both a favor and unsubscribe for a while, take a break, do whatever you have to do. Like, I genuinely support that, and you should do that on every single platform, right? So you are going to be following people online. Just be very mindful of the message that they're putting out and how it makes you feel. You guys focus on, like, when you are scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, how does someone's content make you feel? And that is going to really, really change the game for you, because I feel like a lot of people, I've even had periods of time for myself, you know, sometimes it makes you feel comparative, sometimes it makes you feel less than, and I think there is so much on the other end of that spectrum that's positive and great that can come out of social media, but you really need to put things in place to make social media a more positive experience for yourself, so that it is putting you in a motivated mindset to accomplish your goals. Maybe veering away from a community you've previously aligned with, right? Understanding that it's okay to change your mind about the things you believe and the things you like also can have a lot to do with this, right? There are certain people I used to follow because I love their content and it aligned with where I was at that time, but as I am developing and becoming that future version of myself, their energy doesn't align with the direction that I'm going. Also recommend to set some limits for your consumption. You know, if you don't know, I use the Opal app. I have pretty strict guardrails, again, in place for my consumption and being online. Like, I don't like being online first thing in the morning, and I don't like being online a lot before bed, because it puts my mind in a place that it doesn't need to be at either times of those days, right? When I'm winding down for bed, the last thing I need to be is jacked up and stimulated from all the dopamine I'm getting from Instagram, right? And in the morning, like, I don't want to wake up in a state of comparing myself to others and seeing what everyone else has already posted. It's literally like time to myself, like time to get my mind right. Let me know what your screen time is. I'll put mine up as it is right now. Actually, let's pull it up. Now it is Tuesday. So right now, my average is 3 hours, which is great. For this one, I also recommend something small. You can just set a small goal for yourself to reduce it by 30 minutes. So my average screen time is like 4 to 5 hours. So my goal this week has been to be under 4 hours for the week average. So the last week I averaged 4 hours and 1 minute, and this week I'm at 3 hours and 8 minutes because I'm taking time off Instagram. That's the culprit. So my fifth tip is to come up with a master plan to make those more difficult habits easier for you. If you struggle with getting up for the gym in the morning, you can do 1 or 2 things the night before to prep for your early gym time, like pull out your clothes or prep your water bottle. These are things that I do because on the days I have to be up early, like that is the tough thing. So I want to make the rest of the process as easy as possible. So all those little steps that you would typically have to like mentally process and have to do early in the morning before you have to go exert this energy at the gym, taking away some of those steps and allocating that to the night before, I think tends to really be helpful for me specifically. And that's just like, again, just an example. Another great example, very common, is if you struggle with healthy meals or healthy snacks, then obviously prep. And I know it's like, both things are just annoying, right? Like it's annoying to have to cook and prep and do that stuff all the time. Sometimes it can be just very draining to have to do these things, but if you are serious about those goals, or if you're serious about becoming that future version of yourself, like a part of this is, I think, sacrifice. And that kind of circles back to telling yourself no, like, and that's okay. Like it's okay to do this for a while to get to where you need to be. Obviously you have to carve out time to make a meal plan and to meal prep, or you can even get like a meal service, which I've done a video on Factor. If you guys want to check them out, there are tons of other meal services as well that kind of takes the mental load off of you for having to cook, prep, go to the grocery store. I think of 1 or 2 things that you seem to really struggle with when it comes to your journey, and like think of 1 or 2 things that could instantly make that easier, that is within your bandwidth. That making these hurdles a little bit shorter on your way to your goals is definitely a worthwhile endeavor. It is worth your time, it is worth your intention, making these things easier for yourself. This also might be a great tip if you were trying to lose weight. So we all know how important nutrition is, right? When you're trying to lose weight, you can't out-train a bad diet, as we know. So if you're trying to lose weight and you make meal and snack time easier, this is literally a way to fast track your way to your goals versus waiting until the last minute, maybe not making the best choice for your goals in the moment, right? Because you're last minute, you're under pressure, you're hungry. Doing this one tip will allow you to show up more consistently, which is going to, again, this is going to give you the results and help to fast track you towards your goals. Okay, so for the 6th tip, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this, but I think I want to do it. I want you guys to put a tip down below for the 6th tip. And so if you have a tip that has helped you to fast track towards your goals, or has helped you achieve your goals faster, or that has been significant in you just achieving your goals at all, something that you found helpful, it can be a nugget you heard years ago, loading this comment section up with all of our tips. I mean, I don't know, that just feels really good. I cannot wait to read them, if I'm being honest, right? Because I only know what I know, and I've only experienced life from my perspective. So I think that it's important to offer different perspectives, and I think that we can build this community to kind of like operate that way. That's it, you guys. I hope that you guys found these tips helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up because that supports me and my channel, which I'm so appreciative of. And of course, subscribe for more content. If you're just passing through and you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. I'm glad our paths have crossed, but I hope to see you again. Every day is a gift, and I'm so grateful that you decided to spend part of the gift here with me today. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.